Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild.
Welcome back, LCK fans. We're going to get into the second matchup of the night. It's going to be BBQ Olivers up against MVP. Both of these teams looking to climb the ladder. Haven't had the most luck so far. Definitely a defining game for the bottom of the LCK rung so far.
Yeah, reverse matchup of 2 matches ago where BBQ 2-0'd by MVP. MVP looking good, but BBQ Olivers bring back Trick 2-1 Kingzone Dragon X, and suddenly BBQ, because of the opposition they beat, come in favorites against a team they faced less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so we'll see how it does go down. I think BBQ definitely the favorites coming into this one, even despite that loss. But either way, let's introduce our teams once again.
1라운드 BBQ와의 대결에서 보여줬던 경기력을 생각한다면 잃어버린 자신감을 회복할 수 있겠죠? 여러분의 큰 박수가 필요합니다.
MVP coming in here, she asked the crowd for lots of applause, and well, they're going to need some. They need to climb the ladder if they do not want to get relegated, sitting at 9th right now, 2-7, -11. Let's recall the memory of round 1 complete victory over BBQ.
And that memory is not long for the WODs, only 2 weeks ago. And also, speaking of recalls, they recall Pilot to the lineup. He played against BBQ 2 weeks ago, did not play in their loss against Rox Tigers. That's another good news story for MVP fans looking for any good luck charms they can find. MVP, see what they can show us. I imagine the Skarner is going to be a big pick for both of these teams. Beyond been loving that Skarner even before this week rolled around, and everyone has been contesting the Skarner.
That they have. You're taking a look at the man who plays Sion. We'll see if he plays Sion today, but let's introduce our second team today.
현재 1위를 달리고 있는 킹존 드래곤 X를 꺾었습니다. LCK에 합류한 이후 자신감이 최고조에 이르렀을 텐데요. 그 자신감이 오늘 승리를 이끕니다. BBQ Olivers!
Can definitely vouch for this team. Their chicken is good, but how is their League of Legends today up against MVP? They're looking for revenge. It's funny to say that. But somehow they took the 0-2 against MVP. They wanna, they say they beat the top, so why not beat the 9th?
Well, maybe they got the Robin Hood going on. That was the Jeanette approach in seasons past. Rob from the rich, give to the poor. BBQ looked desperately poor against MVP. We'll mention it a couple of times during the cast, but especially Game 2 being bowled over in 23 minutes by the previously hapless MVP was a really bad look for the BBQ lineup. It is not the same roster. Bono is out, Trick is in. They have plenty of experience here, and I also want to call attention to the man that more people need to be talking about, Tempt in the mid lane.
This guy
is an excellent mid laner. His Zoe deserves a lot of respect. His ability to hard carry is something that BBQ may desperately need. And crazy, they're ever reliable tank player in the top.
Yeah, definitely the two pillars for this team. Their bottom lane has been having some trouble, especially last year, but they bring in IgNar to help out our inexperienced Ghost and Trick in the jungle. Be a better qualified team, BBQ.
And there was a Bono celebration there, so I believe it's Bono's birthday as well. So celebrations abound for BBQ. We have to update the chat, let them know that we did have the free chicken today. It was delicious. Needs some compliments to MVP. First blood percentage, first heart percentage, gold difference. Better than you'd expect. Negative 470 is not fantastic, but at least it's not hitting the negative 1,000 that during their 10-loss streak, it might have extended to.
Yeah, can't really beat around the bush on this one. They started out just looking awful, to say the least. It was 10 games in a row, and then they took a victory over SKT. That was really the bottom of the feels for all the SKT fans when the 0-10 team in games came out and defeated them. But since then, a couple more 0-2s and only the 2-1, or rather the 2-0 over BBQ. Still looking for more success for MVP.
And you're looking at Ghost too. You know, you mentioned the struggles of the bot lane. Remember that IgNar was known for his engage, but never necessarily for his laning phase. It feels like IgNar gets the boots of mobility, wins other lanes, win the 2v2. Ghost has struggled, had a pretty good 2017, especially summer, falling away here. And we mentioned it already. Tempt's a good one to watch, and Ian, who, you know, alongside his team, had a really big struggle at the start of the season, has been leveling up, but he's certainly going to be second best when it comes to Tempt.
Have to keep our eyes on Tempt. Need to shut him down. Need to stop him from carrying. And, well, this guy has got skill. You put him up there towards the top. When you think of top mid laners, you think of FLICKR, obviously, BDD, guys like Crown, Kuro, even Pawn. But Tempt, definitely up there with those guys. It's hard to really decide the 4 through 6 especially, or even the 3 through 6 for the mid lane rankings here in Korea.
Max and IgNar like to get frisky. IgNar usually with the melee initiators, Max with the range supports, but hard to play range supports in some of the metas we've had. We're waiting for the Brand, we're waiting for the Zillion. We know they're around the corner from Max, but IgNar, if he can get the Alistar, he'll make you pay.
That he will. I think there's a high chance that'll be banned out. Not the hardest call to make. He's 3-2 so far on the Alistar. Surprised he's even gotten it that many times, but that is the way of picking bans. You only get 10 bans in total. Used to be 6. Remember those days. That was a long time ago.
BBQ fans here as well. Everyone enjoying the free chicken. It's a bipartisan thing. You don't have to register as a BBQ supporter, get chicken. There is Tempt on your screen. I want to see some new stuff from him. We know about the Malzahar, a little bit out of meta now. Corki's been another one of the impressive picks. Love to see him show us something. The Talia, for example, that people have been enjoying. He got a pentakill on Talia in his LCK career, so roll on more Talia. Been enjoying that one so far. Ready to launch into the games, but basically everything ready to go, it sounds like.
Yeah, looks like the way it is, and here we go, guys. Pick and ban for game number 1. Well, that was a quick first ban from MVP. No Alistar for our boy IgNar.
Yeah, Kingzone Dragon X did leave it open multiple times, but no Alistar was locked in. The Zyra Khan potential from MVP is also going to be removed. So already more bot lane focus earlier than we've had in recent sets, where mid lane has been pinched, and jungle was pinched actually quite a lot in our first set of the night. Gnar banned away very early. 9 games for Gnar already for Crazy this season, so not wanting him to get into double digits just yet.
Not just yet. Eventually, for sure, but still waiting on that. MVP thinking a lot about this last ban. Trick definitely another guy who's not scared to bring in the newer picks into the jungle. He's played a game of Ivern, so that's definitely something that you have to be aware of.
Crazy gonna take a Vladimir ban. Vladimir was very important to them in their last series. I thought an AD carry ban would be coming from BBQ. against Pilot. But you look at Pilot's effective champion pool this season, it's been Ezreal and Kalista. So both of them are left open in this game. Sort of game where you could consider a Kalista first pick, but there's a lot left open in terms of the rest of the risk. Sejuani, for example, as a first pick. The Skarner has become a first pick champion. This feels like the sort of draft where red side might profit, although we'll have to see Crazy come up with a new way to attack the Gangplank.
Please, not the Nautilus. Okay, we are going to have Azir coming through, and, well...
It is Trick.
He's
going to play with our hearts. He knows that I've asked him about these two picks. He's smiling. The Skarner is probably going to be locked in. Yeah, takeaway pick from MVP.
It's because of Papa Smithy that you got debated.
Well, I mean, he is a Nunu Ivern guy, so it's not unlikely for it to be left and hovered. We're going to see Sejuani versus Skarner very likely in this series. This would be a very early claim of the Corki, but don't want to absorb two bans, and the Azir already locked in, so not a good early matchup for Ian on the Corki. Azir does trade up very heavily in the lane phase, but things get better eventually for the Corki. We're going to have a lot of weird hovers, so I think the Kalista's the smart lock-in. It's been the best performing champion for Pilot. I feel like he looked really good on this pick, the one time he's played it this season, whereas the Ezreal has been a bit deprioritized in recent match days.
Well, speaking of Ezreal, it's left available, and already with a couple of AD carry bans on the table. Looking at Ghost to pick up the Ezreal.
Hasn't been a big pick for him this season, only 3 games, but it makes a lot of sense because you think, what does IgNar want to do? Roam? Why not go for ultra safety in the AD carry and just run Ezreal? So while Ghost is most known as a hard carry AD carry, I think of Kog'Maw and Twitch. When I think of Ghost historically, he's going to be a bit more the role player, still trying to find a lane identity with his new partner in IgNar, but banning away, picking up the tier list Ezreal. Means that now MVP can double ban for top lane, so it'll be interesting to see what's available taken to into the Gangplank. Already Vlad and Gnar have been answered, so will we just see Crazy try to play a super tank, a Scion for example, amusingly against ADD, and try to just end the game before the Gangplank can take it over?
Like the Camille ban, seeing that a lot in the top lane and the jungle even. Of course, the Skarner already taken here for Trick, so no question about that. But it's Crazy having his hand at Camille. He's 0-2 on that so far, but again, when you get to the lower teams, it's hard to just look at that stat and be like, oh, he must be bad at Camille. It's just the team overall is having some trouble.
It just seems like they're engineering an insanely profitable Gangplank lane when it comes to just meta things that can be taken into it. Jace is something that Crazy does play pretty well. He's not necessarily Khan when it comes to the pick, but it's something that can be considered against the Gangplank if you want to look for a laning focus pick. Braum will be banned away. Would render them very heavy on the siege, but a powerful siege comp nonetheless. You look at this team from BBQ, and if you're ignoring the left side, you think, well, they could really use some initiation. So an Ornn, for example, does fit it, even if it doesn't necessarily give them the most happy lane into the Gangplank. Thinking about carries here, it's maybe not going to be the Jace, the Fiora. We don't see this matchup too often. It's one that Gangplank can largely farm pretty comfortably in. Not a health stacker is the GP, and usually you want Fiora against super tanks. Is going to be the Fiora. They still will be looking to play a 4-1 style, but a bit of a surprise to me that it's not the Jace and it's actually the Fiora in this particular matchup.
Yeah, definitely a big question mark in this pick ban. I mean, he hasn't played it even once so far in 2018. I think I remember a couple of games from him in 2017 where he picked it up.
But it doesn't really fit his style, right? Exactly, he's not really known as lane dominant to the tune of a Riven or a Fiora. And MVP see the Fiora and think, let's just load up on teamfight as much as possible. Looking for a Zac to be their super tank and to engage. Does mean that when it comes to pressure lanes, they're going to have a couple of losing pressure lanes and a Zac. And we've already seen that punished so far on this evening. BBQ kind of in that weird spot where not really a way for a support to really lend to the identity of the Fiora. What do they want to do with their 4-man core while the Fiora is split pushing? They're going to go for the Taric, the Cosmic Radiance. Cosmic Radiance against this comp from MVP can struggle to be used at the precise time. And if they fall behind here, It's going to be difficult for them as a 4-man unit to get the maximum value out of the Taric. So while they do have some good team fighting in the Azir, it feels like the Azir and Ezreal are more tuned for the siege. Skarner's ahead. Maybe you can threaten a dive, but BBQ to me a bit all over the place in terms of comp, whereas MVP, they just want to get 3 items and they want to get team fighting.
That they do. We'll see if ADD can make a big impression on the GP. It's his most played, but to mixed success. We'll see how he does against the Fiora. Definitely a lot of eyes looking towards that top lane, as some people are saying, what the hell, crazy, you're going with Fiora up against GP. That's not normal, but let's see how he does. I don't want to call it before we actually see the lane. We've been surprised before.
We go, though. MVP drafts have sometimes gone their way, but of course their play has been on the lower end of the scale here in LCK. Have had some better performances recently. It hasn't been as lean a time for MVP. The draft has some great scaling, but it is 2 losing pressure lanes and a Zac. So top side for the Skarner. Going to be a happy hunting ground. Not quite the Nidalee when it comes to battle warding, though, so we'll see how Trick approaches this game. It does feel like Trick is empowered, so we'll see if that's actually turning into a lead, because you know what? Even if the matchup isn't a prototypical Fiora one, enough items in the Fiora, and she can warp a game all on her own.
Yeah, especially later on. We'll see how he can do as he begins to stack those items. But either way, guys, the game is ready to begin. Game 1 here between BBQ Olivers and MVP will begin right now. Well, we always say it about the lower teams here in LCK. They have some of the most diehard fans.
MVP especially
Yes.
always boisterous. Doesn't matter how many consecutive losses, they will always be there to support their charges. Our Korean cast is getting super hyped about this level 1.
Well, we do have 4 relic shields in the game.
That is a lot. The Gangplank one expected. We're just looking for bandit procs here on the Fiora top lane. First time I'm seeing this between solo queue or competitive play, so a different take on the matchup.
It's an interesting feeling, you know. Generally, you go up against the Gangplank, you either go with the counter or some kind of tank, and you just kind of let them get ahead. But when you're going with Klepto, Relic Shield, Fiora, you're kind of like, well, we're going to have a late game scaling carry in the top lane as well. And everyone's fighting fire with fire.
3 Kleptos this game. Everyone's banking, it feels like. The CS and the kills are not going to give us the full picture. Just how much gold generation's happening on the Rift. No surprises that Beyond is going to be going for the power farm. Started his Wolves and straight into the top side. Even if Skarner predicts the 2-camp start, usually you expect a red side start. There's no blue ward. There was no red ward on the red buff, so he didn't know that he started top side. And that means he's very unlikely to be punished, because you usually expect Zac to be top side on the 230 to 240 mark.
You can see already some nice trading so far, level 1 and level 2. Not sure really who has gotten the advantage in terms of the items so far. I haven't seen any gold, but we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Still in the early game, Valdez. Still going to have, hopefully, a very interactive lane for the Gangplank against the Fiora. Fiora's not known for her passive laning, so we'll continue to look for the trades. Should be fun to see. Again, did not expect to see Relic Shield Fiora in our games this week, but that is the banquet that we've been gifted.
Well, certainly Fiora can get to work at taking out barrels pretty easily. Dive onto them and swipe them out of the air.
Without the Corrupting Potion, did pick up a Mana Pot from the Q proc there for the Kleptomancy, but going to be a little bit less mana sustain than we usually see from Fiora early. But actually a happy hunting ground for MVP historically. 9-3 against BBQ, and while the spring results do go their way, the fact that in summer, when they were pretty hapless, they were able to go 4-1 shows you that was a little bit about MVP, just playing intelligently against their opposition.
Yeah, definitely up against BBQ was some of the only success they had during that time, if I remember. And it is reflected there in the stats. But it's a new BBQ and an old MVP. See how they bring their play into 2018. MVP really setting the tone, saying we have this team's number so far, even in 2018.
Tone of this game, realistically, Valda, is it's going to be slow. Then we're going to have a pretty quiet early game. If we had had an Italy or a more combative jungle on the side of BBQ, there were strong lanes to play around, but I think MVP did a smart move. Having Beyond start Wolves into the blue and the Gromp, no real chance for Trick to invade, to contest. So while it is Fiora, usually we're hyping up, increasing our hype for the early game. Probably not going to be seen here.
There's no isn't there in the brush. They were thinking about a play there in the mid side. They actually have Resolve second for the Corki, deciding to, just eat up a bunch of that Azir harass that you'll have to deal with early on with that answer, as well as the Doran Shield.
Yeah, Second Wind will be the important rune to speak about in this area. Trick's Control Ward not going to get the sort of value he's looking for, as he already knows the positioning of it, but Second Wind, just because whenever you push up as Ian, try to Phosphorus Bomb the backline to get lane control, you take a full rotation from the Azir. Skarner's here topside.
Yeah, he's getting aggressive. He's still got his flash ADD, but can he get out of this one? Barrel is going to hit crazy here. He's getting low as we speak, and Zach is also making his way up. There's the double flash, but this is going to be turned around right back onto Crazy. Saw that coming a mile away as the Zach makes his way up into the top side. That should be a double kill. One more will do it, and the flash from Beyond will secure the kill. 2 kills to MVP.
Beyond jungling on the right side of the map, reads it well. ADD buys time, eventually flashes. But the Elastic Slingshot registering led to the downfall of BBQ. 2 kills donated. The Skarner flash down for when Impale is available. Fiora was looking for the scaling. The Gangplank has a 15 CS lead and is 1-0-1. You saw the start here, but so much time is bought by ADD. It feels like an inevitability if you don't have the mini-map to look at. We have the benefit of having the full information. BBQ do not. Bounces on to Crazy, kills him in just the Elastic Slingshot W, and first auto attack. Q could be held on to for the turn. Didn't end up being able to donate the second kill over to ADD. Did require the flash, but still 2 kills early for MVP. We like the scaling draft. The scaling gets more straightforward with 2 kills.
Yeah, so nicely done there. Trick, or rather Beyond, I should say, in position to get a nice counter gank off. Otherwise, it might have just been a flash for double flash and first blood. But kind of reading the situation very well. Crazy trying to make that happen also before level 6, so didn't even have an opportunity to make his ult proc.
Trying to make the Fiora work as well, even though it's not the usual Fiora matchup we see. Usually see Fiora versus tank, so maybe a Fiora versus Camille once in a while for a skill matchup, but you kind of see the cadence of this matchup. Gangplank will get free parlays off cooldown in the lane phase and then largely play respectful when Fiora starts to get her 2 items. We're going to be pretty happy, all things considered. Definitely no semblance of a lane counter pick to the Gangplank.
Yeah, I mean, when you see the top teams come into a draft, they don't necessarily go for weird picks like this. They'll just go for the straightforward thing. Like, okay, the Nar's banned out, the Camille's banned out. I guess maybe we just take a tank lane and try to go for team fights later on instead. But when you get to this level, it's like, okay, is this really going to be worth it? I mean, perhaps. The idea is there, but you don't really see a lot of teams doing it. It's a very outside, newish idea. And, well, if you're going to make a play like this happen, you at least have to try to go to the late game.
But we should rewind to the draft and talk about why it's such a surprise in this game, because there's certainly games where you look at the enemy draft and you say, well, I think we have to go a carry. This is all that's left up after all the bans. It kind of has to be the Fiora. That's all I've got in my champion pool. I don't feel this was that kind of game. Yeah. At the time when the pick was made, they knew that MVP had heavy scaling. They had Corki looking for 3 items. They have Gangplank looking for 3 items. they're on the back foot. So something like an Ornn or a Sion diving in and forcing things early, there would have been windows of power for BBQ to try to make the 5v5 work. So I think it would have been incentivized to try to attack when the enemy team was weakest, instead of looking for the flares up 1v1 matchup in the top side. So didn't feel like the draft necessarily corralled them as much as perhaps some people would look at pick and ban and suspect. And now we look at a game where BBQ already falling behind, win conditions narrowing. Struggles start early for BBQ in game 1.
I mean, we're getting to a point now where ADD is getting far enough ahead that he's going to have his Trinity Force out in no time with the kill and the assist. Fiora is not going to be skilling nearly as fast as that. And do you send Trick up there to try to go for a gank at that point? I don't think so. So it's like you take the losing lane there, you try to make Trick make a play somewhere else on the map, but hasn't been able to just yet. His flash has been down for quite a while. Took Predator, but still doesn't have the boots. So maybe in just a bit after he goes back and buys.
And Fiora doesn't have an ability to bait out the remove Scurvy W from ADD. So in general, not very many good options around top side. It was supposed to be the snowball into maybe a similar story to be posed to MVP, but worst news possible that it happens here. MVP pushing in bot side, happily farming in top side. The scaling's on, but Valdez, MVP won a fight when they got 3 items. So, you know, I think this game bought some extra time. I'm very back in my chair, very lounged. I'm feeling very comfortable. Guys, if you're at home, if you're thinking, okay, I don't want to miss any action, can I afford to go make some popcorn, get some drinks? Yes. The answer is yes. Take your time. We'll still be here for you.
Maybe make a run to your local BBQ store. And,
yes. I mean, I'm learning because, of course,
pick up some chicken if that's available to you.
I mean, the fans at home are very vocal about how much they are invested in whether we got the chicken, and the fact that they don't get chicken. BBQ chicken is talked about a lot. Is trying all in here.
We'll see how this works. Looking for that last proc. ADD is actually riding the wall, denying that for quite a while. This is not going to work.
Good news is that I've heard that some markets in North America do have BBQ chicken.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. There's a couple of BBQ stores out there. I know that Postmates apparently delivers it. This sounds like I'm getting some sort of like money from the endorsements, but we just want you guys to enjoy the BBQ.
We just want you to be a part of the experience, right?
There's nothing more LCK, I would say, than enjoying some BBQ chicken and watching some League of Legends. There's maybe no enjoyment for Tempt.
Nice interrupt, but the flash gets him out of dodge there. But at least they get the flash. But ultimate burn there by the Zac. And low on health here is Beyond, or rather Tempt, in the mid lane. I feel like for you guys who have trouble, you know, either money or time or whatever it is, other restrictions, you're not able to make it down to the studio, not able to get the full experience. Getting some chicken, any kind of chicken, is pretty good.
I do appreciate, I think we should talk a bit about, because everyone knows fried chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken, obviously super famous. Korean chicken is a very different approach to the chicken. It's a lot less, I guess, oily is the word I was looking for. It's a very different experience. People here don't seem to think it's optional to have chicken without beer. It seems chicken and beer, chimek, is what the big thing is here.
And if you're not going to have beer, you at least get soda, which, I mean, that's pretty normal in the States as well, at least.
Should, I guess, mention that MVP stole a Drake, but you guys could have seen that one. Talking about chicken is what the people want.
Yeah. Don't always have to say exactly what's on the screen. Although us play-by-plays do that from time to time. There's nothing else to talk about. Oh, we have another engage up here in the top lane, but okay.
The problem is, for the play-by-play for a Gangplank versus Fiora lane, they're always going to be within 100 units hitting each other, but the kill threat is so low that it's very hard to gauge exactly when you should get excited. Kind of like when I tried to get Atlas to scream about Sion versus Ornn. Identifying the hype moment of the Gangplank versus Fiora matchup is, I'm going to leave that to you.
Okay, we'll see. So far, ADD has more gold generated from the Relic Shield. That's basically all that's said there. I'm sure you guys could have guessed based on the numbers.
Do you feel like there's anything more kind of iconic to Korean cuisine than chicken and beer? Obviously, kimchi is very famous here, but is there a kimchi pairing that like is as essential to kind of the identity of food in Korea than the chicken and beer?
You mean kimchi and something? Kimchi
Yes.
and rice goes.
That's
like,
true.
That's a very.
It's very
common,
stapley, I guess.
It's stapley. It's a breakfast. It's very easy. You know, in a normal household, you'll have chicken and you'll have not chicken.
You got chicken on the mind again, Valdez.
I mean, we're casting BBQ. You'll have kimchi and rice in your house, and so you wake up in the morning. Very simple. You can, you know, you don't have to heat up the kimchi. You just eat it cold. You just need to make the rice, which is also pretty easy.
The BBQ chicken was cold today. Still pretty good.
Yeah, you know, it's still cold here. This is spring, right?
Yep.
In LCK summer, we're going to be like, guys, it's really hot. The chicken, it was cold, even though it's hot outside. But for now, it's cold. Although, the past couple of days haven't been so bad.
We're getting to double digits Celsius, around 10 degrees Celsius. I don't know if that means everything. Some people, I actually don't know Fahrenheit very well, so I can only talk in Celsius.
10 is like maybe 50 Fahrenheit.
I'm leaving it to you.
Yeah,
you could be just spreading fake news. I don't know.
I've been here for almost 6 years now, actually. It's been a long time. In May is actually going to be my anniversary.
Oh.
Coming up on Score's 6-year anniversary. But
Do I have to get you a present for that?
You can if you want. I know the exact date. I think it was May 19th. Just mark your calendar.
Who knows? Maybe it's a SPO TV casting day.
Who knows? If it is, that'd be nice.
Well, MVP deciding to contest something in the enemy jungle, so we should talk about it.
And Ian, he's got his package. Heard you guys talking about that yesterday. Huh? I actually didn't know.
What size package would you say Ian is using right now?
It's moderately sized. It's nearly the entire size of his body, so you could say that's quite large. I wouldn't call it big or anything like that, but Trick is going to be landed upon underneath this turret. That's about as easy as it gets, as the Skarner did not have his flash available, and he does just disappear.
Package or no, baited in was Ian. Zach there to pick up the kill. Trick is out now. So Ian, very masterful in pulling Trick up. Trick goes down for a second time this game, Valdez.
Yeah.
The Skarner in the first round is not working out for really any team, but
Yeah.
specifically BBQ.
It's a shame, you know. It's I like Skarner a lot. Definitely hype. It's very easy for me to know when to scream about Skarner. I'll put it that way. But we were hyping up Tempt so much and about how he's, you know, top of the line here in LCK, one of the best mid laners we have. And then I looked at his stats on Azir, and he's actually 0-4. This would be a very unfortunate game to just lose. You know, he's going 0-0-0, as you do on 8.3 as a mid laner.
And also to become the first and maybe only team this season to go 0-2 against MVP in match score.
And go 0-5 on Azir, even though you're such a great player.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but potentially a reality. Especially because ADD is, let's say he's decked out. He's having a happy time. Even upgraded his Relic Shield, because why not?
Meanwhile, Crazy's just got a Ravenous Hydra. Trick doesn't have his flash yet. Just fighting over the Spire here.
It's a really bad sign when Trick has to defend Spires against triple scaling, but specifically the Corki and Gangplank scaling with a Zac jungle as well. Because he went for the Skarner early. Maybe this is something we'll see from other teams, the idea of saying, okay, Skarner's not really going to fight me pre-6. Why not get greedy with my picks, as here comes Beyond again.
Well, Tempt not making that Azir look convincing, but a second miss on the kidnap, and now it might just be the Corki's life. No, he's able to flash out of that one, and nobody dies.
Top of the table action here between BBQ and MVP. Kidnap goes wide. Everyone baits everyone. Summoner's down on both mid laners, so something that can be returned to.
You know, you play some Zac.
I do.
You played some Zac in your time. What is it like to use that kidnap ability? I actually don't play much Zac.
So the mechanic that I guess that non-Zac players might not know is that if you don't fully actually hold down the R for, I believe it's a second and a half, for quite a long time, you don't get the kidnap off. You actually just pop people in the air. So you actually need to hold on to it. So if you miss on your E, you're very likely to miss on your ultimate. But yeah, it feels pretty bad, man.
It feels like it does. It looks like it does, for sure. I was thinking about adding him to my jungle repertoire.
He's very forgiving.
But,
he's very forgiving. He's got the passive. He gets a Warmogs. He's really tanky.
You kind of just jump in from miles away, and in solo queue, people don't really know to ward for you.
Also, there's not many tanks in solo queue, so you're really tanky.
Yeah.
Which is helpful.
I usually just play Sejuani.
Do you want some secret freelo, by the way? Should
Don't
jump
tell
on
me Scion jungle.
Scion top was, of course, something I've already talked about, but Volibear is really, really strong right now.
8.4.
Yeah, really powerful.
I mean, the grievous wounds on the Morellonomicon is taken away because people aren't rushing it in the mid lane anymore, so that makes sense. Also, Predator, I guess, is still pretty good on him.
Also, he interrupts jumps with his new E.
Huh.
So if you try to rocket jump away, he interrupts it, and then he kills you because he's Volibear.
Yeah. You don't just awkwardly continue the chase and then run out of your chase.
Yeah, because he used to be, I press Q, maybe I flip them over, they flash, and I'm kind of sad while walking around with Thunder Hands. Now he actually can interrupt dashes, which in a meta with Azir, Corki, so many mid laners, that can be big.
Yeah.
Infernal went down, but, you know, it's Tahm Kench. She'll be fine.
I love how we've just started talking about 8.4 because this 8.3 game has not been too exciting, guys. Don't know what to tell you. Double Infernal for MVP and slowly winning game for them. Looks good.
MVP, if you want a kind of summary of the first 20 minutes, there was that double kill top lane that kind of ended the early game hopes of BBQ. MVP have triple scaling, and the Zac is invading the Skarner, which is real bad if you're a BBQ fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got that one dive kill on mid onto Tempt as well, or rather onto Trick, as he didn't have his flash that one time. So
they're going to turn this into a Baron. This is pretty hype. Baron spawns.
Send out the Rift Herald as a distraction.
Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, they're starting out the Baron. Only 10,000 health. They're going to rush it down.
I mean, they got Kalista and there's no vision in here, so BBQ they have no idea. This is going to go down 20 minutes. Down you go, double Infernal. And the Kalista and all 5 members grouping on the Baron. Unexpected, but it works out very well.
That was awesome. The PogChamp moment for the game comes to MVP, making a really smart read. Using the Rift Herald off spawn should have been a bit suspicious, but BBQ were in base. They were recalling. Only then was the home guard effect even granted from the base at 20 minutes. They get there too late. Great moment for MVP. And now the scaling comp is 5,000 gold up, and they have a Baron start crashing down the turrets.
Yeah, I have to say, ever since that double kill in the top lane and Trick having a lot less presence on the map, they've just kind of been giving objectives away. They don't have vision, no ward coverage of either river, and MVP, nice read. They notice it and they're like, okay, I guess we can just do this. It's not something that you would normally see in this meta, but
especially with,
you know,
Gangplank and Corki on their side.
Yeah.
Island and Max launched in, but largely just going to be about the siege. Will we see an attempted an impale? Have we seen one this game?
Yeah.
Oh, there was one in the mid lane.
We did, yes. He's going to flash away the kidnap. Oh boy. MVP is going to win this game, but Beyond is going to lose this game. By himself. Okay, we got a 1v1, Tempt versus ADD. That's a lot of damage coming out from Azir, but the barrel and the speed from the Gangplank gets him away, using the blasting plant too to get out of there, saying, see you later.
A nice attempt at an all-in. Tempt didn't have a follow flash, and like you say, Gangplank slippery with this much movement speed. He'll stay alive. The perfect game dream will stay alive as well, Valdez. Getting perfect gamed by MVP after losing to them 2-0 2 weeks ago would be real bad.
King Zone.
Yep.
Even with Rascal in the lineup.
We're going to watch the replay. The attempt at the canceling the perfect game here by Tempt. So much damage, but extra levels, extra items means he just about slips away. Slippery pirate.
He's a fed pirate for sure.
MVP continue to push up. Will we see a kidnap hit is the big question of this game.
Kind of reminds me of that game. I forget who it was, but someone threw like 6 Sejuani ultimates into the Zac. Like over
I remember
and
that
over
game.
and over, as if he was aiming for
Was
it.
that
Might have
MVP
been
Rox?
Beyond.
It was Rox in the game.
Oh,
it was
okay.
Rox KT. And it was Sungwon.
Oh, right, yeah, it was Sungwon.
Just
yeah.
training ultimates onto score as
It's like,
many
where's
times
Zac?
as possible.
Okay, I found him.
That was a hilarious game 1, by the way. And then Rox won game 2. And since then, it's been good, so.
Yeah. And someone got a lot better. Maybe after that game, he just had an epiphany moment like, I suck.
We've all been there.
I need to get better at this game. I'm on a professional team. That just happened. He's definitely been a lot better.
He's been great.
Gotta hand it to him.
You have to hit your...
Oh, boy.
Will he
this hit?
Yes,
he did it! Oh!
Beautiful kidnap coming through. That's the bounce he wanted. MVP continue on the perfect game and beyond redeemed on the Zac.
Nicely done. He doesn't have to shelve the Zac rather. Wow. FLICKR in there. Looking for more picks. See what he can get. Not going to be much as the siege comes in. They're trying to get the inhibitor, but some nice respect shown out of MVP. They don't have the Baron.
They're feeling the perfect game. This is the point in the game where they actually are like, wait, we're actually in a position for a perfect game. I don't believe MVP as a squad has ever gotten a perfect game in LCK history. MVP, this is the tense moment where they realize that in every role they outscale and are ahead. 2 items on the Kalista. 3rd item coming in for MVP on the top lane as AD's decided he wants a bit of everything to slow down the healing field and try to duel crazy 1v1.
Could happen.
We've had a lot of pentakills, but no perfect games this season.
Really? I thought we did have one.
No. We had only a Rift Herald. Rift Herald was taken against them. That's all we had, I believe, this series.
I could have sworn we had one early on in the season.
Hey, I really did watch all the games, Valdez.
You were there every time.
We've had 3 pentakills, but no perfect games.
I was there.
That's true. You're always there patrolling the faithful. I guess the Spo TV squad is what we've decided to call the Spo TV fans. They can't be
that's what you've decided to call
well, they can't be a legion. We've got a legion already.
We do.
So, Spo TV squad.
That makes sense. OG and Legion, not really that much.
It's a legacy thing.
OL, like really?
OWL?
No, definitely not that. We don't talk about that on this stream.
No undersight mentions. Well, the perfect game continues as the Ocean Drake will force a 4th spawn before the Elder Dragon can come online. How about another ocean? Life's a beach today, Valdez.
Might as well. You got sun and sand, some infernals and some oceans.
Getting ready for the summer early.
Summer's going to be nice. Got a good healthy break in the middle. We'll see what we can do with that. But the push continues on here. The Baron is getting close to spawning, about 1:20.
This one probably going to be more contested than the first one. And MVP, we do know they like to play fast and loose around the Baron.
Yeah.
We're not able to do that.
Man. They have a Kalista. They're like, it spawns, we do it. Well, they're going for crazy here. He does have his flash. He's not going to burn it just yet, though, and he gets slowed up. Going for a more risky flash, but now Ian flashing in a 3. Seems like it doesn't matter beyond just, I don't know what he's doing at this point. Kind of just like.
So he ulted away because they wanted to keep the Devour for the Corki. They didn't have 2 Devours there, so that was actually tactical in his miss of that particular Let's Bounce.
We'll give it to him. Certainly having a better game than Trick this time around.
That's true.
Not too impressive on the Skarner, I have to say.
Might have to turn his tricks on another champion in the next game. Skarner not working out for him.
Yeah. I mean, when you go for that kind of gank, it is hard when you get really far behind, of course.
In the Relic Shield numbers, and well, Gangplank does it from range with the parlays, so he's always going to be a little bit ahead in this race, but basically, this is the result of 20 parlays, more so than Fiora's been able to do.
It's part of the reason why we see that item still in 8.3. Did get nerfed in 8.4. I forget exactly what the nerf
health was removed from a lot of it. It's more for a support nerf. I think there's...
I thought in the notes it said, like, we're specifically doing this because certain...
Melee supports are too strong.
Okay.
But there is on PBE some talk of removing Bandit or perhaps adding a lot of penalty to the gold generation. Something needs to be done because, you know, the Pirate needs more nerfs, direct and indirect.
Yeah. They're like, if you're in the top lane, you get a penalty, and then all of a sudden you'll see Gangplank down the bottom lane. The lane swap returns.
Well, the penalty of letting MVP farm for 30 minutes in a perfect game is about to be fully enacted because you know that point that everyone's scared of when you face Corki and Gangplank? It's here. It's here right now. It's 3-item Corki. He is monstrously strong. You need magic resist, you need health, you need armor. They don't really have any of those things, so And MVP are ready to go. They are strapped. They are locked and loaded. As long as they don't let BBQ smite away the Baron, which with MVP is a very large risk. They're ready to close out this game.
I mean, they have the Kalista, so that is something.
Don't list all the things they have. It's still MVP. They can still surprise us.
Doesn't count. We're having a bit of a 1v1 down there in the bottom lane. Doesn't seem like anyone lost any health, though, so the Observer did the right thing, showing the vision play, trying to bait this Baron here. They don't just want to go straight for it.
Troll Ward invested will be answered. Not seeing any attempts at the all-in on the bot side. Crazy does hit level 16. It's largely about Gangplank farming and being more impactful in a team fight when it comes to GP versus Fiora, so no need to get greedy. Pretty low damage build, all things considered, by ADD. But we're so early in the game that it's not going to matter. He can just swap it later. Perfect game still on. 9,000 gold lead. They start up the Baron. They can duo this if they want.
Yeah, it is, again, Kalista.
Actually, Max does not want to cancel the vision of the ward that... there's just no wards to clear at all. So he's actually just in a perfect spot here. Trick, he's kind of AFK. He's waiting for some friends.
He's given up. True Shot Barrage comes in, but a little bit too early there. As, well, Smite Ren comes in, and that will be the second Baron over to MVP. Now, 11,000 gold ahead. And they will begin the push. You talk about Corki and GP, but also the Kalista. Pilot's been having a low-key nice game, has 1 kill, and I think 3 items at this point, so we'll also begin to stack damage in team fights.
Yeah, second Baron, though, should condemn BBQ to losing most of their base. Their comp doesn't fight 5v5. Their comp can no longer split push as the Fiora fell behind early. It's kind of the reason that we went so far veering off topic is the ways for BBQ to win were win lane, win game, have a strong 4-1 split push, and kind of both of those botched at the same time in the first 10 minutes. Tells you really the story here. Beyond is very, very big on this Zac and has hidden ultimate, so he's got that going for him.
Yep, just 1. Looking to perhaps get a second in the next fight. See if he can do it.
Remember, guys, perfect game is on. No perfect games in Korea yet in 2018. Last year, we had plenty of perfect games in summer from a FLICKR, but not many pentakills. So things have turned around a little bit. Walking up here, first inhibitor of the game, going to be going down.
Yeah, pretty easy one there. You got the package on Ian, Baron buffed up. Trick looking to get perhaps his first real impale of the game. Let's see what he can do.
What is a fake impale?
That's the one we saw earlier.
Okay, that's fair.
Doesn't really, do much.
We want this game to ramp up. We need to beat FLICKR and viewers, guys. We can do it with just a bit more action in the game. I'm on here, MVP.
Really, it all rests on the shoulder of Beyond.
A perfect game is the thing that gets people to tune in. If I heard there's a perfect game, I want to see it. I want to be first round for it. Whoa!
You asked for damage, or rather some action, and well, there you go. That's what happens when the Corki gets fed.
MVP, they want to pick up their first ever perfect game in the LCK against BBQ, coming off that win against Kingzone. It is opposite day. Second inhibitor turret goes down.
Tempt looking to push them away, and uh-oh, Beyond, he's got to get out of there, as he does with his Let's Bounce.
Getting the turret a second time, so Sun turret's down, another tool that has been removed. MVP, 2 inhibitors strong. Still 3 minutes 40, thank you, SpoTV, on the respawn. The outer bot lane inhibitor. Baron buff power play, they got 1 more minion wave, but they still have to bring it up. So for now, at least just playing the map, growing the gold lead, 14,000 gold. Predicting MVP versus BBQ game seems easy. You just predict MVP apparently every time. Doesn't matter how their last result went. Wonder if we'll see Bono in game 2 as those crits are a bit out of this world.
You know what? They might have to phone him in from Russia. Maybe bring him in for this one. See what he can do. See if he can bolster this lineup. Because so far they haven't had much luck. And Ian, he's looking for the kill all by himself. Nearly goes down for it, though. So they're going to back off. They don't even want to stay for the inhibitor. No chances will be taken by MVP.
Perfect game rolls on 33 minutes in. IgNar will not be able to interrupt any back, except for Max, who doesn't have the Baron buff to be able to accelerate that one. It just wore off after he channeled his first recall. AD turns on to the Ocean Drake, and, well, he's a 6-item Gangplank very shortly. He's going to go back and buy his final item. Not actually sure he's going to bother to complete the armor penetration item. I don't know if he needs that in this particular game. Maybe he just goes full damage. We'll wait and see. I guess just goes for Mortal Reminder for gold reasons. Look on the enemy team, and they got a bit of armor. Not really that much, so not really that big a pickup. A lot of good farm numbers from BBQ, but the items just cannot hold a candle what the enemy team is holding. Look at Ian. Insanely fed, not 6 items, but those crits are just massively large.
You'll see what happens in a game. You know, just one point we can take from this. You can see what happens in a game where a pilot is kind of left to do his thing. He's sitting at 436 minions killed at 34 minutes into the game. That's really high numbers.
BBQ going for a gank brush. Unfortunately, they can't reach brush, so it's just a gank around a wall.
Yeah. That did not work.
No.
That is the skin that I use when I play Skarner, though. So
they're looking to turn on to AD, just kill him, though, end the perfect game. As we're zoomed out, a lot happening on the Rift.
Okay, they're going to get the inhibitor as Crazy backs off. And
I feel like we're going to helicopter watching a League of Legends game from Runeterra.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, see you later. Ian is just right in the front. Nearly gets killed, though, and Beyond gets eaten up there. Nearly goes down. He hits another one. But the Cosmic Radiance is going to come in. They can't get a kill. Will the perfect game come in?
I think it will.
Is the real question. Ian's the only one that's near dying here. All he's got to do is not die, but he wants more kills. Gonna get another one there onto Ghost, and there you have it. Perfect game for MVP over BBQ.
The perfect game of the season. The first one comes from a squad that started the season 0-10. Opposite day reigns supreme as congratulations MVP. In every way, you outplayed BBQ, who already from the draft we said had pretty narrow ways to win the game. Botched the top gank, and you talked about the farm numbers. Everyone was so safe because Trick was not showing up in any of the lanes. It felt like all the negative clouds coalesced at the same time for BBQ, and the end result was, honestly, they weren't good enough. They weren't LCK standard in this game. Too easy, and MVP easily pick up the perfect game.
They certainly made it look easy. Got to be happy after that one. Looking to make this a thing in LCK, where MVP is just really good against BBQ for some reason. And, well, you'll notice that the manager here goes directly over to Trick and kind of talks to him a little bit about that game. Definitely not the highlight moment for BBQ and Trick.
To say whether Bono will be playing Game 2, jokes aside, something needs to change for the side of BBQ. They don't have too many options there. As the side of MVP, you know, a team that's been so down this season, it's so big for them.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, we are going to take a bit of a break before we get to Game 2. See ya in a bit.
안녕하세요. 에로의 신문십답의 박지선입니다. 오늘도 역시 멋진 LCK 선수 모셔봤는데요. 바로 KT 롤스터의 데프트 선수입니다. 안녕하세요. 그리고 오늘의 제이스는 바로 스맥 선수입니다.
제가 오늘 제이스 역할을 맡은 것도 좋지만 또 상대가 혁규라서 좀 더 좋은 것 같아요. 최대한으로 한번 때려보겠습니다.
Let's get started. Please introduce yourself and your team.
Hello, my name is Hyokyu Kim and my team is KT Rolster.
Then what does alpaca means to you?
고민했냐 너?
아니.
해. 해 빨리.
Just anyone. Just anyone.
Okay. 3 top 80 carries in LCK.
뱅 플레이 룰러. 오케이.
탑이라고 하지 않았어?
뭐가?
뭐가?
아니 뭐가?
뭐가?
원딜 3명 말하라는 거 아니야?
원딜 탑 3.
아니 자기
말하지 마. 홍민정 하지 마.
And during the broadcastings, SMAP nags a lot, you know? Why Deft Pablo stuff? What are your comments about that?
뭐라는 거야? 해석 좀 해줘.
뭐야?
형 영어 잘한다.
난 하는데
해석 좀
너가
해.
일단 해야지.
아니 한 대 맞았으니까 해석해줘. 해석.
뭐야? 내가 방송할 때 왜 이렇게 너를 괴롭히고 그러냐고.
스냅 데뷔.
SMAP bad?
네.
Then who is the most like mother-like person in your team?
스냅.
SMAP is like the team's mom. Team's mom.
아, 괴롭히냐는 줄 알았어.
나지.
코치. 네.
Coach. Okay. Then what is your goal for the spring split?
챔피언.
Champion.
예.
Can you give some kind of encouragements for your teammates fighting?
파이팅. 왜 파이팅?
Something else?
한글이잖아.
파이팅이 왜 한글이야?
그냥 한번 해봤어. 너 아는 세게 해. 그거 해가지고 기분 바뀌었어 우리가?
KT 화이팅. 파이팅.
다시 제대로 해 빨리.
KT 파이팅. KT 파이팅.
Can you give us a message for your fans?
Thank you for supporting me. 네. Goodbye. 바이바이. 영어 공부 좀 해야겠다.
네, 여기까지 가서 봐요.
네.
And during your broadcast, you really nag a lot, especially to Deft. Why is that?
Because he's why? Ah, I don't know. Just I want.
You speak bad to him? Okay.
Yeah. Just.
Do you hate him?
Oh. Yeah.
Any message for your teammate?
Practice more, please. Especially you have to practice more. You. And fighting.
파이팅.
난 파이팅 했고 넌 파이팅 했잖아 아까.
파이팅부터 했어.
뭔 소리야? 넌 파이팅 했어.
여기까지가 KT 로스트의 스맵 데프트 선수였습니다. 안녕.
신문 십답을 했는데 뭔가 왜
뭐?
신문 십답을 했는데 뭔가 영어로 얘기해본 게 처음이라서 뭔가 색달랐던 것 같아요.
연구 좀 해라.
그거는 네.
제가 제이스 역할을 했는데 사실 좀 아쉬운 것 같아요. 조금 좀 세게 때려주고 싶은데 또 이렇게 많은 분들도 계시고 그래가지고 그 점이 조금 아쉽고 다음에 또 뭐 이런 재미난 거 있으면은 네, 꼭 참여했으면 좋겠습니다. 추천한다면 저는 피넛 플레이, 피넛 선수가 또 당돌하기 때문에 잘 때리지 않을까 생각합니다. 지금까지 KT 롤스터의 스맵
데프트였습니다.
지금까지 KT 롤스터의 지금까지 KT 롤스터의 스맵
데프트였습니다.
안녕.